Welcome to Ask the Wizards. It's June. I wasn't supposed to be here.
I know.
I was supposed to be in Ireland. They canceled our flight and wouldn't rebook it for 5 more days, which eliminated more than half of the trip. So here I
Bummer.
am.
Bummer.
Yeah. So we rebooked it for July. Don't worry about us. I'm still not emotionally okay right now, but I'm gonna do my best to answer some good questions. I mean, you guys are nice and all, but it's Ireland.
Yeah, yeah,
So
sure.
let's get to the questions.
Let's do it.
Oh, look,
Let me
a
make sure I've
Chad
got this
Cunningham
right. Yeah,
question.
Chad Cunningham. We can
I
always
am
count
not
on Chad.
sure. I will read it for you. Actually, Chad, you want to read it? Can you read that?
Sure. I'm not sure how to frame this, but I'll call it campaign fatigue. I
Hmm.
have some clients who get that brand style of message and overall feel the messaging stays consistent, and that you just need to freshen up the contents and make it relative to the people listening. We do that, every 6 weeks, every 8 weeks, depending on the frequency of the campaign. But I have those clients, however, that feel their campaign sound has become stale, that they need to completely blow up the branding strategy and create something fresh.
Yeah.
We know what to say on the why that is not a good idea, unless, of course, something has drastically changed in their business, in which then we need to look at that. But for those businesses that haven't seemed to have changed, I want to know the reasoning and the logic they have when they feel they need to completely change. In a lot of cases, just because the client feels that way. So I'm curious to find out what kind of questions you guys use to get to the root of the need to change when a client says they feel that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Every musician in the world knows this problem. There's nobody more tired of fire and rain than James Taylor,
Hmm.
right? It's an artist. I would say in my brain, I'm going to venture a guess on two places it comes from. If they're actually listening to it all the time, it's familiar. And just as human beings, we crave a shift, a change. Like, come on, yeah, this is the way, like, we get it. It's old, it's what we're always doing. But you forget that the people on the other end uh, don't hear it as often as you do. They're not writing the ad, they're not listening to the ads. What was it? Roy was saying in class, and the old man, he said when he was working with Ray Bard, Ray Bard said, by the time this book goes to print, you're going to be so sick of it that you will not read it again for, what did he say, like 7 years or something like that? You won't touch it again for 7 years. You will be so sick of this book. And everyone else, it'll be brand new and it'll be hitting the New York Times bestseller and you'll be signing copies and you will be so over that book. All you want to do is talk about the new thing you're working on, the new thing you're writing, but that's not how everyone else lives. So that is a human reality in every category when we get really familiar with something. So my first thought, Chad, and you know this, there's no way you don't know these things that I'm about to say. So I'm not teaching you. I'm just uh, Emma and I have this thing that we do, my wife and I, where we'll say something that we both know is obviously true, not necessarily in an argument, but in like someone's having a hard day or someone's not doing well with something, and we just say, I'm just going to say the thing that you know. And so it doesn't feel like you're being condescending or lecturing. So this is just me saying, I'm just going to say the words out loud that you already know. They are bored. And there's a tinge of everyone else is constantly posting on new about cool new shit they're doing. And there's a FOMO involved, the fear of missing out on some cool new snazzy thing. And if you don't deal with that with every client, I'm shocked, actually. I would be shocked if you don't have to figure this out with every single client at some point in working with them. It's a human condition. My answer has changed over the years for that when I talk to students and now with my own clients. I'd be interested to hear what Dave has done with this. My answer used to just be what I just said, like, hey, just because it's boring to you doesn't mean it's boring to everybody else. Even more important now, what I would say, and in this era specifically of our world, the world is in chaos. And there
Mhm.
is something about like all the studies that show what most people go home and watch is not new shows, but the vast majority of shows that people go home at the end of the day and watch is rewatching old sitcoms they used to love right now. And there's this psychological element of like it's predictable and it feels good and you know it's going to happen and you still love it. And that it gives you some sense of stability in your world. And for some people, if you've written a really great ad campaign, that's a cornerstone kind of stability in their world. And you completely upend all of that, you're just adding to the chaos. I remember when they changed the Spence Diamonds, when the new venture capitalist owners who bought Spence Diamonds changed the ads and got rid of Sarah, the famous voice of Spence Diamonds, and the public practically rioted. It was the feedback on email and like it was nuts. Roy was telling me all about it. So I don't know. I would say it's a good thing to acknowledge that they're right. Their feelings are very real and are very human feelings. And yes, they probably are bored with it. And yes, they would love to hear something new, but you're not necessarily your customer. On the other hand, what Roy always says is the customer do what the customer will actually do. And so what I would say is like, hey, let's try one ad out of nowhere that's just a complete left turn and even acknowledge that maybe you're a little bored of your ads and just pull
Yeah.
back the curtain a little bit.
I think it's most important to manage it ahead of time, like manage the expectations, and you'll come off really well if when you get a new client on the air, you say, look, we're in this for the long haul. I'm gonna be managing this campaign and writing your ads for years, and there's going to be a time, a year or two in, that you're going to think, oh, this is tired and old, and I'm just telling you it's going to happen, and you're going to want to change it, and it's probably the worst thing you can do. Um,
Yeah.
I, I think about young men and women that are, if you go to a marriage counselor before you get married, and they say to you, look, there's this thing that's real. It's called the 7-year itch. And 7 years into this, you're going to feel like you're bored and maybe you made a mistake, and or maybe 21 years into it, you're going to need a new Corvette. You're going to have a midlife crisis and think that you need to reinvent yourself. But um, most of the time, anybody we see doing that, most of us would say, "Oh God, you're making a mistake. You're making a big mistake, right? You're
Mhm.
throwing away something that you've invested a lot of time and money into." And I would say don't change it unless there's something wrong, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're in a completely different business or times have changed and you were in a business that is now been taken over by AI, and you've got to change gears and do something radically different in your whole business model. But if it's business as usual, it should be the campaign that's working as usual, and you just lean into it and you find new and creative ways to say the same things that you've been saying for years.
Yeah. Just remind them about New Coke.
Yeah, sure.
Mm.
I mean, there's countless,
All
like
right.
all the campaigns that Bud Light went through, right? After they
Yeah,
had
yeah.
one that really worked well, and they could have continued it,
Yeah.
but somebody got itchy.
All right. Let's do the next question.